Care England, which represents care home owners, says a third of providers have considered closing down because they're facing crippling energy costs, which have increased by 500% since the start of last year. It's accusing some energy companies of profiting from the increasing prices. Joined now by their chief exec, that's Martin Green. Hello, Mr. Green. Thanks for joining us.
Kay.
How bad is it?
Well, it's very bad, and I think the statistic of 500% increases really shows how significant these increases are. I think also we have to remember care services use a lot of energy, so both gas and electricity. We have to ensure that environments are warm for the people we support. We have a lot of work to do to make sure that they're clinically clean, so there's a lot of laundry, etc., a lot of equipment which takes electricity. So we are a business that delivers a lot of services that require a lot of energy.
Oh, so what is the impact having on these escalating energy prices?
Well, we saw in some research we recently did that there are about a third of providers who are now considering whether or not they can continue. So what we're seeing is the energy costs are really disproportionate compared to other costs, and we have seen some significant increases in other costs as well. So this is leading to some services at a tipping point and thinking about whether or not they can continue.
Because, I mean, the preconception is that if people are running care homes, that it's an incredibly profitable business organisation.
Well, it isn't. And, you know, we have evidence from the Care Quality Commission and a range of others that it is not a profitable business. You know, and of course, what people always do is they think of the very large corporate groups, but the vast majority, about 60% of services, are very small local businesses. And for them, these sorts of costs really are a tipping point for whether or not they're viable in the future.
And if those homes had to close, where would their patients go?
Well, this is
residents, I should say.
The problem is there is nowhere for them to go. You know, there is a lack of capacity in the sector. We've already seen that there are some services that have closed over, particularly since the COVID outbreaks. So we're seeing a lack of capacity in particular areas, and we can see that as well in the impact it's having on the NHS, where we're seeing not enough capacity so that people can't be discharged from hospital.
Almost 20% of the population is over the age of 65. This isn't a problem that's going away, is it?
No, it's a problem that's going to significantly increase in the future. And that's why I think we need some really clear and concerted efforts now to make sure that services are sustainable. And in November last year, I wrote to Ofgem and I asked them to look at these energy prices. There were particular areas of concern. So, for example, there were standing charges. There were people who were going to have to give very high security deposits. We also saw that some of the energy companies were not allowing people to have new contracts and giving them very high tariffs in the interim. So these were issues that I realised were of concern to the sector, and I wrote to Ofgem asking them to look into it.
What did they say?
Well, in fact, they've now written to the Chancellor and said that they are going to review this. So I really hope that the Ofgem review will be an opportunity for us to really bottom out the costs of energy. And particularly, you know, we're looking at the wholesale energy price, which is significantly higher than the retail, significantly lower, than the retail one. And we've got to know why there's that difference. The issue of security deposits is another area that I want them to look into, because these sorts of costs can really make the difference between an organisation being viable or having to close.
OK, do you have any reassurance for families of those that are their elderly relatives are in care homes today?
Well, I think what I want to say is that care homes are providing a great service to those people, and we really hope that through the Ofgem report and inquiry, we'll be able to make sure that energy prices are at a reasonable level, and that will mean there is a sustainable service. But unless we get some action on this, you know, I really have concerns that some services may well close.
OK, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.